In the fall of 1974, newlyweds Claire and Daniel Mercer moved to a weathered Victorian house on Graven Street in New Orleans. The home, sold at a shockingly low price, was supposed to be a fresh start. But from the moment they stepped inside, Claire felt watched. The air was thick with silence, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. And in the attic, where an old trunk sat untouched, something stirred. 2 days after settling in, Claire discovered the attic door slightly ajar, though they hadn't gone up there yet. A chill seeped from the narrow gap, and when she opened it fully, the temperature dropped. The staircase creaked under her feet as she climbed. At the top, she found an old trunk, and something else, faint breathing. But Daniel laughed it off. "It's just an old house." But Claire wasn't so sure. Claire couldn't sleep, the attic still lingered in her mind. The next morning, she opened the trunk. Inside were old linens, children's toys, and a photo album caked in dust. One photo stopped her cold, an image of a family standing in the very same living room, but their eyes were scratched out. Worse, in the reflection of the mirror behind them, someone else was there. Tall, dark, watching. And she called for Daniel, but when he came, the photo was gone. That night, Claire heard whispers again, closer this time. She followed the sound through the hallway until she reached a door they'd never opened. It had no keyhole. Just a brass handle and deep scratches around the frame. Daniel insisted it was just a storage room. But when Claire pressed her ear against it, she heard breathing. Slow, steady, and not hers. She turned the handle. It didn't move. From the other side, 3 knocks. Then silence. The next morning, Claire found Daniel staring at the floor in the dining room. He'd heard scratching all night. Together, they pried open the floorboards beneath the table. What they found wasn't pipes or pests. It was a torn child's shoe, and a bundle of old photographs, faces scratched out, each marked with the same date, October 3, 1957. Suddenly, something whispered from the hole. Claire dropped the photo. Daniel backed away and they weren't just living in the house. Something else still was. Later that evening, as rain beat down on the windows, Daniel noticed the door to the basement had creaked open, though they'd locked it days ago. Claire, clutching a candle, stepped forward. The air turned icy. From the stairwell below came a sound, not footsteps, but dragging. Claire called out, but no one answered. Then, on the wall beside the door, words appeared in the condensation. "Bring them back." The flame flickered violently, then went out. The storm raged through the night, but Claire couldn't sleep. In the bathroom, she leaned over the sink, splashing cold water on her face. When she looked up, her reflection was wrong, slightly delayed, slightly smiling. Then, a child's figure appeared beside her in the mirror. A little girl, soaked and shivering, whispered, "They're still here." Claire spun around, nothing there. But the mirror? The child was still watching, from the other side. The whispers led Claire to the nursery. Peeling back the rug, she found warped wooden floorboards, and a small iron ring. She pulled. The hidden hatch groaned open. A draft of cold, moldy air rushed out. Inside was a cramped crawlspace, and bones. Tiny bones. Beside them, an old porcelain doll stared blankly, its eyes scratched out. Claire's breath caught. Suddenly, a voice behind her whispered, "You found her." But she was alone, or supposed to be. Claire was drawn to the nursery again. Something felt off. She hadn't stepped inside since the day she moved in. But tonight, the door was ajar, gently swaying. She peeked in. The crib, dusty and untouched, was rocking, slowly, methodically. As if someone invisible was lulling a baby to sleep. Her breath caught. Then, a music box on the dresser clicked, and began to play on its own. The broken doll, the one she'd thrown away, was back in the crib, staring blankly with cracked cheeks. Claire whispered, "Who did this?" From the shadows came a voice, soft, young, and cold. "You forgot me, Mommy." Claire barely slept. The whisper from the nursery haunted her, that voice. The next morning, she noticed something. Along the inside of her bedroom wall, just beside her bed. Scratches. Faint at first, but unmistakable. Small, like fingernails. They trailed down the plaster in long, erratic lines. She touched one. It was fresh. No dust, no age. As if something had clawed it from inside the wall, last night. Suddenly, the room chilled. Claire turned toward her closet. The door creaked open on its own, just a few inches. From inside came a low, guttural exhale. Then a whisper, barely audible. "You hear me now?" Claire needed proof, something to convince herself she wasn't losing her mind. She grabbed her old Polaroid camera. She took a picture of the wall with the scratches. Nothing strange. Then, she aimed the lens at the nursery doorway and clicked. The photo developed slowly. Claire waited, breath held. First, just the empty hull. Then a shape. A figure began to emerge from the film. Not visible to the eye, but now perfectly printed. A tall, pale silhouette standing in the doorway, its face obscured, limbs too long. It was looking right at her. She dropped the photo. Her hands were shaking. No one else was in the house but when she turned. The nursery door was wide open and the photo was still in her hand. She hadn't dropped it at all. Claire couldn't stop staring at the photo. That thing, whatever it was, had been right there. But when she peeked into the nursery, nothing. Just silence. She stepped inside. Her son's crib sat untouched, rocking gently. A chill swept through the room. Then, a whisper, faint as breath. "Leave us." Claire froze. She turned toward the closet. The door creaked open slowly, by itself. Inside, the baby's mobile hung from the ceiling, spinning, though no air moved. On the wall, new scratches appeared before her eyes. Fresh, deep letters forming. She squinted in horror. It spelled, "Stay away." Claire backed out of the room, her heart pounding, but in the hallway mirror, behind her. That figure stood again. Closer than ever. Claire remembered something. An old box of home videos in the attic. She hadn't touched them since Henry died. Dust choked the air as she pried it open. She slid a tape into the player. The screen crackled to life. Grainy footage, her and Henry, laughing. The baby, crawling. But then, the picture warped, the audio reversed. A dark figure flickered into frame. Just behind them. It wasn't there before. Claire fast-forwarded. More videos, more appearances, each time, it got closer. Then one clip froze. Henry, sitting alone, looking directly at the camera. He whispered, "Claire, it's here." And the tape snapped. Claire stared at the static, heart racing. Had he known? Had it been following them even then? The static from the tape wouldn't stop. Even after unplugging the TV. It buzzed faintly, whispering her name. Claire backed away. And her foot caught on a loose floorboard. It creaked, then snapped. Something was beneath. She pried the boards apart with trembling hands. A space, shallow, dark. She reached in. Fingers brushing something cold. Wrapped in stained cloth, she pulled it out. A bundle of photographs, dozens, hundreds. All of her. Sleeping, cooking, crying, even from behind shower curtains. The last one was taken that morning. She hadn't seen anyone. Claire dropped the photos, gasping. Someone had been watching her for years. And they were still here. Claire followed the trail. A crawlspace beneath the torn floorboards. Leading to a hatch she'd never noticed. She hesitated, then pulled. Dust rained down. A rusty ladder vanished into darkness. She climbed, the air grew colder, damp. The smell of earth and rot thickened. At the bottom. A room, small. Claustrophobic. Every wall, covered in photos of her. Notes scrawled in trembling handwriting. Mine. She's safe when I watch. She must not leave. A mattress in the corner. Filthy, recently used. Claire's hand trembled on her mouth. This wasn't just someone watching, this was his home, beneath hers. She wasn't living alone. She never had. Her heart pounded in her chest. The walls seemed to close in, the room felt suffocating. She couldn't tear her eyes away from the photos. From the haunting scribbles that repeated over and over. She had no choice, she had to find High. But as Claire turned, her foot caught something. A box. Unopened, but old. Almost ancient. Inside, the air shifted. The smell of old wood and something metallic. As she opened it, a flash of metal caught her eye. A key. To the front door. To something darker. The floor beneath her creaked. It wasn't just the watcher's eyes she had to fear. It was the eyes of something deeper. Something buried beneath the house. Something that had been watching her since the moment she moved in. The key didn't fit any door upstairs. Claire tried them all. But one place was left. A warped wooden panel in the basement floor. It had always looked odd. Out of place, her hands trembled as she pressed the key into a barely visible lock. With a soft click, the floor groaned. A hidden trapdoor opened. Revealing a narrow, stone staircase vanishing into the dark. Cold air surged upward, carrying a smell of damp rot. And something older. She knew she should run. Call someone, anyone. But she felt pulled. As if something below was waiting for her. Not to harm her. But to be found, and something in her gut told her. Whatever lived beneath her home wasn't done with her yet. Claire stepped cautiously into the passage. Stone walls pressing close, slick with moisture. Each breath echoed like a whisper. But they weren't her whispers. The walls pulsed. Subtle, like something alive just beneath the surface. She ran her hand along the stone. And it twitched. Flesh-like, she gasped, pulling back. Then, from ahead, a sound like sucking air. Followed by a dragging shuffle. She raised the flashlight. Only to see scratch marks all over the walls. Deep, bloody, desperate. Someone had been trapped here. Or still was. The whispers grew louder. A dozen overlapping voices murmuring her name. Claire stumbled forward, heart pounding. Deeper into the passage. Because now, she had to know what was waiting at the end. The tunnel widened into a crude chamber. Its floor littered with bones, broken glass, and something worse. Tattered remains of clothes Claire had never seen before. She whispered, "Hello." A sound answered. Not a voice, but a wet, slithering drag. Coming from the ceiling. She slowly tilted the flashlight upward. And her breath stopped. A twisted, human-like creature clung there. Skin gray and stretched tight. Eyes glowing faintly, mouth stitched into a gruesome grin. It crawled like a spider, limbs bending the wrong way. Then it spoke. Not with words, but with every voice she had heard in the whispers. It knew her name. It had always known. Claire turned to run. But the tunnel behind her had closed, stone sealed where the entrance had been. She was no longer in her home's foundation. She was inside something else, something alive. Claire backed away, her breath trembling. The flashlight flickering in her bloodied hand. The creature dropped. But didn't land, it flowed, like smoke wrapped in skin, slithering toward her. Behind it, walls began to breathe. Flesh pulsed beneath stone. She screamed, but it was swallowed by the hollow itself. No one heard. No one ever did. She wasn't in a tunnel. She was inside its body. And she had trespassed too far. The creature opened its stitched mouth, voices spilled out. Her mother, her father, her own, everything it consumed, it became. Claire ran. But each step sank into living ground, the walls closed, tighter, closer. Until darkness swallowed everything. Blackhollow was quiet again. Above, her house stood still, but under the floorboards. The whispers began again. They never found Claire. They never even searched. Blackhollow remains untouched, quiet, cold, and waiting. If you hear whispers under your floor at night, don't listen. Subscribe to the Cursed Diaries for more true horror stories. Because some nightmares are real.